Over 400 years ago, an entire community crossed the ocean chasing hope. They built homes where no English voices had ever lived, raised families, endured hunger, storms, and isolation. And then, without a battle, without a scream, without a trace, they vanished. When help finally returned, the houses still stood. The land was quiet. No bodies, no signs of violence, only a single word carved into wood, Croatoan. This is not just a mystery of history. It is a story of courage, survival, and the unanswered fate of the Lost Colony of Roanoke. By the late 16th century, England was a nation brimming with ambition and curiosity. Beyond the familiar shores of Europe lay the vast uncharted lands of the New World, full of both promise and danger. England's leaders knew that to compete with Spain, they needed a permanent presence across the Atlantic. Every map drawn, every ship built, and every sailor prepared was part of this grand vision. For the common people, this meant leaving behind everything familiar, home, family, and certainty, to face the unknown. The age of exploration was not just adventure, it was survival, national pride, and the hope of new beginnings. Queen Elizabeth I understood the stakes. Spain's colonies flourished, their ships overflowing with gold and silver. England could not afford to fall behind. The Queen and her advisors envisioned a settlement that could secure trade resources and military advantage. They dreamed of a colony that would grow into a self-sufficient English community. This was more than politics. It was a test of human courage. Every decision carried consequences, not just for the monarchy, but for the families who would risk everything to create a foothold in the New World. Hope and strategy intertwined in every plan. Across the Atlantic, Spanish empires dominated vast territories. From fortified cities to sprawling plantations, Spain's influence stretched across the Americas. English leaders watched warily, aware that Spain's power posed a direct threat. Maps of the era show enormous territories already claimed, leaving little room for newcomers. For the English settlers, this was more than a matter of land. It was a race for survival, influence, and identity. Every expedition, every ship, and every settlement attempt had to navigate not only nature's dangers, but the looming shadow of an empire that would fiercely protect its gains. In 1587, England prepared its second serious attempt at colonization. Unlike prior military-focused voyages, this expedition carried families, men, women, and children, along with tools, supplies, and hope. Over 100 settlers embarked on this treacherous journey, each leaving behind homes, livelihoods, and certainty. Harbors were bustling with activity, sailors shouted orders, crates were loaded, and families hugged tearful goodbyes. Each ship carried not just people, but dreams of a new life. For many, the journey represented a choice between desperation, and opportunity, where courage and faith would be tested across thousands of miles of unpredictable ocean. The Atlantic Ocean tested every soul aboard the ships. Storms battered fragile wooden hulls. Waves threatened to sweep men and supplies into icy depths, and sailors struggled with ropes and sails under relentless wind days, blurred into nights as exhaustion weighed on bodies and minds. Every sunrise brought relief. Every nightfall renewed fear. Families prayed, sailors cursed the sea, and leaders tried to maintain order. The settlers faced not just physical hardship, but the anxiety of venturing into an unknown land, relying on unity, courage, and unshakable hope to survive the long, perilous voyage. After weeks at sea, land finally appeared. Roanoke Island rose from the morning mist, its dense forests and calm waters offering a fragile promise of safety. The settlers disembarked with cautious excitement, aware that their new home could provide sustenance or conceal hidden dangers. Birds called from unseen branches, the wind rustled through trees, and every sound seemed amplified in the quiet anticipation. While the island symbolized a fresh start, it also carried uncertainty, unfamiliar terrain, wild animals, and the unknown presence of native tribes. Each step on this new soil was a delicate balance of hope and caution. The settlers cautiously explored the island, every clearing and forest path filled with mystery. The smell of salt water mixed with damp earth, and the rustling leaves whispered both welcome and warning. Families carried tools, children clung to parents, and men scanned the horizon for threats. Each day brought new discoveries, fertile land, fresh water, and edible plants, but also challenges, hidden swamps, sudden storms, and the constant uncertainty of survival. The dream of building a colony depended on bravery, patience, and cooperation. As the settlers began to forge their fragile community amid the raw wilderness. John White, an artist and experienced mapmaker, led the colony with knowledge and careful planning. He documented the landscape, sketched buildings, and guided settlers in construction and farming. Unlike previous military leaders, White relied on diplomacy, observation, and foresight. Settlers looked to him not only for instruction, but for reassurance, trusting his judgment in a world both beautiful and dangerous. His maps would later become essential historical records, capturing the early days of the colony and the delicate balance between survival, hope, and the ever-present threat of failure in this new untamed land. Construction began immediately. Settlers chopped trees, hammered planks, and built simple wooden homes and fences. Every swing of the axe was hard labor, every nail driven an act of hope. Children assisted where they could, while women cooked and tended small gardens. Each structure represented survival, a foothold against the wilderness. The forest encroached on their settlement, yet their determination slowly carved order from chaos. Though physically demanding, these early efforts forged unity among the settlers, reminding them that resilience and collaboration were as essential as food and shelter for enduring the new world's challenges. Life on Roanoke was relentless. Every day required farming, hunting, gathering firewood, and tending livestock. Tools wore down, crops failed, and illness spread quietly through the settlement. Families adapted quickly, learning to read the land, track animals, and preserve food. Even simple tasks became tests of endurance. Settlers relied on each other in ways they had never imagined, forging bonds through shared hardship. Despite exhaustion and constant worry, Small victories, like a successful harvest or a healthy child, brought hope and reminded them why they risked everything for a new life in an unfamiliar, often unforgiving world. As weeks turned into months, shortages became urgent. Hunting often yielded little, and crops struggled in unfamiliar soil. Hunger gnawed at bodies and morale alike. Settlers scavenged wild fruits, fished in the streams, and rationed whatever provisions remained. Children grew thin, faces pale, yet the spirit of survival persisted. Families held on, sharing what little they had. Each day demanded ingenuity, patience, and resilience. The new world's beauty could not mask the stark reality of starvation. Every meal, every bite, was a reminder of both their vulnerability and their determination to endure. Roanoke was not empty. Native tribes lived in the surrounding forests, observing, interacting, and sometimes avoiding the newcomers. Relations were cautious. Some tribes offered help or trade, while others were wary of the settlers' intentions. Misunderstandings were inevitable. English settlers tried to navigate these delicate interactions, learning the land and its customs. The success of the colony depended as much on diplomacy as on farming and survival. Every encounter could be a bridge of friendship or a spark of conflict, reminding settlers that they were guests in a world they could not yet fully understand. Amid the hardships, a moment of joy emerged. The birth of Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. Her birth symbolized hope, continuity, and the possibility of permanence. Families celebrated quietly, recognizing that she embodied their dreams of growth and survival. For John White and the settlers, Virginia's arrival was a tangible sign that life could endure, even in the harshest conditions. She became a living emblem of the colony's aspirations, a reminder that their presence on this island was more than temporary, and that the future, though uncertain, was still within reach. Despite small victories, resources dwindled, crops failed, hunting remained unreliable, and supplies from England were delayed. The settlers faced the grim reality that survival might not be possible. Anxiety and fear became daily companions. Each decision, whether to forage, plant, or explore, carried weighty consequences. Families wondered if they would see the next sunrise, and the future of the colony hung in the balance. The settlers' hope was fragile, sustained only by their determination and the belief that the new world still held promise, despite the mounting challenges that threatened to overwhelm them. In desperation, settlers turned to John White, asking him to return to England for supplies. Leaving behind loved ones was agonizing, yet necessary. Ships were prepared, cargo carefully loaded, and farewells were tearful and heavy. White carried their hopes across the ocean, fully aware that the journey would be perilous and that the colony's survival depended on his return. Families remained on the island, clinging to optimism as storms and the vast ocean stretched between them and safety. This separation was both a practical choice and a gamble, where trust and courage were tested against uncertainty. Back in England, John White encountered unexpected challenges. The threat of the Spanish Armada required every ship to be used for defense. The colony's needs were delayed as England prioritized national survival over distant settlements. White's return was postponed, leaving the settlers stranded on Roanoke Island. Weeks stretched into months, then years. The settlers faced isolation, relying solely on their ingenuity and hope. The New World had become a prison of patience, where survival depended not just on strength and skill, but on endurance through waiting and uncertainty, as forces beyond their control dictated their fate. 3 long years passed. Seasons changed, crops grew and failed, and the forest slowly reclaimed parts of the settlement. Homes stood empty during periods of illness or abandonment, as settlers struggled to maintain hope. Children grew older, and anxiety gnawed at the adults. The isolation of Roanoke became tangible. The ocean stretched endlessly, with no sign of returning ships. Each passing day heightened the stakes, reminding settlers that time itself was an adversary. The colony existed in fragile balance between resilience and collapse, with every day offering both opportunity and danger. In 1590, John White finally returned. Expecting familiar faces and structures, he instead found silence. Smoke rose from no chimneys, and the usual signs of life were absent. The forest encroached upon cleared fields, and the settlement appeared untouched by struggle, but abandoned nonetheless. White's heart sank as he walked through empty homes, searching for clues. The air was heavy with uncertainty. Something unimaginable had occurred, and the signs suggested neither chaos nor violence. The colony's disappearance was a mystery waiting to be uncovered, each empty space and dismantled structure hinting at an unknown fate. The colony was gone. Houses stood intact but empty, fences partially dismantled, belongings left behind. No bodies were present, no signs of battle or sudden disaster. Nature had begun to reclaim the land, with vines creeping along walls and weeds overtaking paths. The silence was eerie, a stark contrast to the bustling life that had once filled the settlement. It became clear that the departure had been intentional, though the reasons remained unknown. Every footprint, every tool, every structure became part of a puzzle with no obvious solution, deepening the mystery surrounding Roanoke. Closer examination revealed no signs of conflict. Homes had been carefully dismantled, not destroyed. Tools and personal items were left behind in an orderly manner. This suggested that the settlers departed with purpose rather than panic. The absence of bloodshed or struggle indicated planning and perhaps even negotiation. The colonists had vanished in a way that left the land almost pristine, preserving a silent message for anyone who might return. The careful dismantling spoke of reasoned choice, patience, and an understanding of the environment, an intelligence that belied the fears of disappearance or disaster. Among the few signs left behind, a single word carved into a post caught John White's eye: Croatoan. The letters were neatly inscribed, with no cross to indicate danger. This cryptic message suggested a possible destination or contact point, a clue left deliberately by the settlers. Its simplicity belied the depth of the mystery, hinting at communication, intention, and perhaps hope. White pondered its meaning, realizing that the colony's fate might not be violent or tragic, but linked to strategic relocation. The word became a symbol, echoing through history as the sole tangible trace of the vanished settlement. The idea of relocation gained weight. The Croatoan Island and its friendly native tribe represented a potential refuge. Perhaps the settlers had integrated peacefully, seeking protection, resources, or alliances. John White had planned to investigate further, but storms and damaged ships forced him back to England. Theories abounded. Had the settlers merged with the tribe? Were they gradually dispersing inland? Every possibility seemed plausible, yet none could be confirmed. The ambiguity of the colony's disappearance left both contemporaries and historians grappling with speculation, mystery, and the enduring question of what truly happened to Roanoke's brave settlers. Back in England, rumors spread. Some believed the settlers had been wiped out by hostile tribes, while others whispered of disease, starvation, or even Spanish attacks. Stories conflicted, and the truth remained elusive. Historians and observers debated endlessly, piecing together fragmented accounts and John White's maps. The lack of concrete evidence fueled imagination, and Roanoke became both cautionary tale and legend. Every retelling added layers of drama and uncertainty as the human mind tried to fill the gaps left by history. The settlers' silence became a canvas upon which centuries of speculation would be painted. Modern archaeology offers clues, though no definitive answers. Artifacts suggest that some settlers may have integrated with local tribes, adopting new customs and survival strategies. Excavations reveal remnants of structures, tools, and everyday objects scattered across the region. These traces hint at adaptation, resilience, and perhaps community building beyond the original settlement. Yet the absence of written records or formal documentation leaves questions unanswered. Archaeologists piece together fragments, imagining the lives of those who disappeared, reconstructing a narrative that balances fact with educated conjecture, and revealing the complexity of early colonial existence. If the settlers joined local tribes, they would have faced both challenges and opportunities. Learning new survival techniques, adapting to different foods, and navigating complex social dynamics would have been essential. Language, culture, and daily routines required adjustment. Yet these interactions may have provided safety, community, and knowledge unattainable in isolation. The blending of cultures, while speculative, demonstrates human resilience and adaptability. Survival in the New World demanded flexibility, courage, and openness, illustrating that history often unfolds in ways both dramatic and subtle, leaving traces that endure in stories, artifacts, and shared memory. Despite centuries of research, Roanoke remains America's oldest unsolved colonial mystery. Every new discovery raises more questions than answers. Scholars continue to study artifacts, analyze landscapes, and interpret historical records. The lack of concrete conclusions makes the story compelling, a mix of hope, fear, ingenuity, and the unknown. For the descendants of settlers and for curious minds around the world, the disappearance of Roanoke sparks fascination and reflection. It is a reminder that even in an age of documentation, human lives can vanish, leaving only traces of ambition, courage, and resilience for history to ponder. The tale of Roanoke is ultimately one of human courage. Families crossed oceans, endured storms, hunger, and isolation, and built a community in a harsh, unfamiliar land. Their story reflects the timeless struggle to explore, survive, and create meaning in the face of uncertainty. Every log cabin, every cleared field, and every artifact tells of determination and resilience. Roanoke challenges us to consider what it takes to endure and adapt, to pursue dreams despite overwhelming odds. Even in absence, the settlers' bravery echoes through history, reminding us of the human spirit's capacity for hope and survival. Roanoke teaches lessons about ambition, preparation, and adaptation. It illustrates the delicate balance between human determination and environmental realities. Miscalculations, delays, and unforeseen challenges shaped the settlers' fate. Their experience underscores the importance of knowledge, cooperation, and cultural understanding in survival. The colony's disappearance also reminds us that history is not always neat or conclusive. Sometimes it is fragmented, mysterious, and open to interpretation. These lessons resonate beyond the 16th century, offering insight into human behavior, exploration, and the enduring pursuit of hope against formidable obstacles. Over centuries, Roanoke evolved from historical event to legend. Tales of the vanished colony inspired books, research, and popular imagination. The story became emblematic of mystery, courage, and the unknown frontier. From historians to filmmakers, each generation interprets Roanoke differently, projecting contemporary concerns and curiosity onto its narrative. The colony's disappearance remains a canvas for exploration, reflection, and storytelling. Its cultural memory reminds us that history is not merely about dates and facts, but about the human experience, emotions, and the questions that endure when answers remain out of reach. Today, Roanoke is remembered as America's oldest unsolved colonial mystery. Its empty fields, scattered artifacts, and the loan word Croatoan continue to captivate historians and enthusiasts alike. The settlement's legacy lies not only in its disappearance, but in its testament to human courage, resilience, and adaptability. As modern explorers and archaeologists study the land, the story of Roanoke endures an enigmatic reminder that even in absence, the past leaves profound lessons and echoes of lives once lived. The Lost Colony remains a symbol of ambition, mystery, and the enduring human spirit. History World Secrets channel brings real, well-researched historical events and mysteries to light. Subscribe to explore more authentic stories, discoveries, and lessons from the past.